right now.
Myster DL.
222. Who's off?
Yo, we are here.
Here.
Episode 19 of the Danger Zone podcast.
1-9. You understand?
La
Catch
zona
up.
peligro.
With Big Shug, Myster DL,
Yes.
Chef Tanya.
Chef Tish.
We got a special guest coming in today.
Yeah, my man Freddie Foxx is coming through.
Freddie Foxx.
Bumpy Knuckles. You know what I mean? Y'all know. Pop Duke. My man. So Militia brother, he coming through. So, you know. What's good with you though, man?
Nah, man, I'm good. I just want to start. We usually start with hip hop, but I think this week we're going to start with some comedy drama. A few episodes back, we were talking about the beef between DL and Monique.
Oh yeah.
Remember? You remember this? They were having issues, so they both got.
I thought it was DL. It was beefing with Tony. Oh no, go ahead.
That's only off camera.
Yeah, go ahead.
So last night or 2 nights ago, maybe they were both booked on a show, and there was some argument backstage about who's the headliner and who's not. So DL Hughley says, "I'm not going out unless I headline." So Monique comes out on stage, and instead of doing her set, she just trashes the shit out of DL Hughley the whole time. Calls him a bitch.
Oh shit.
Calls him, a bunch of words that we're not going to say here on the Danger Zone podcast. Maybe
Right.
Big Shug can, but I'm not going to say that. Some people let Tanya say that. But, and then he said, you claim Oprah was the problem. You claim Tyler Perry's the problem. You claim Charlamagne's the problem. You claim Steve Harvey's the problem. You say Lee Daniels is the problem. You say Netflix is the problem. And now it's my turn. At some point, it can't be everyone else. It's you. She was doing she had that whole meltdown about the whole Netflix thing. She's on her comeback tour, and now she's just coming out on stage bashing people. And then her closing line was, you were an opener for the kings of comedy. I was the closer for the queens of comedy. And I was just like, no one gives a fuck about the queens of comedy and sensitivity of Mr. DL. But hey,
I'm gonna tell you.
Insensitivity.
I'm gonna tell you though, like,
Ooh.
I do though because there's some funny women that I really I enjoy.
are we comparing the two? We're not going to compare them.
I mean, but that's like the WNBA against the
exactly,
NBA.
yeah.
But there's some hilarious chicks.
Yeah,
Like
Monique's funny.
she's funny.
I'm
That new girl, Jess hilarious. Like there's some funny like women, and a lot more Samoa from back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I there's some funny women out there, man. Keep doing your thing.
So who we got next, Chef Tanya? Oh, so Spice One is mad at, who is he mad at for saying that Jay-Z has...
P. Diddy.
Oh, P. Diddy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's saying he was mentioning that Jay-Z hasn't filled Tupac and Biggie's shoes, because especially Tupac, him being probably West Coast, he's more aligned with that. But man, that's his take, man. That's that brother's perception. That's what he thinks. Whatever. Me, I don't. I feel like Jay-Z is dope regardless.
Yeah.
So if they were there, they just would have been another MC like him.
Yeah.
That
And
would
why
be
does he
doing
have
his
to be
thing.
better than both of them? Like,
I don't understand why people think if Biggie and Tupac were still alive that other rappers wouldn't exist.
Nah, Jay-Z is nice.
You know what I'm saying?
the
Like,
standard of
There's
hundreds of rappers.
But
when they rapped.
and plus, but I'm saying it's like all stars, Michael Jordan and all them in the league.
Evolve.
Yo,
yeah.
motherfucker, but not even that. Fucking Jay-Z is one of the all stars, the icon like that. Like when you look at Jordan and say, "I'm getting them sneakers," he ain't played in 100 years.
Yeah.
Jay-Z is that dude where you're like, yo, this motherfucker's nice. Even like right now, look at they go to get features from him. Pusha T's joint. With Nas, they go get little features from him. Them shits is fucking slaying. And he just chilling like, he could be. My son was telling me, man, earlier, man, he could be in the studio somewhere, like still, flexing his vocals and shit. We don't know, but I mean, to me, he would have still been Jay-Z. Shout out to Spice One because, man, when he was popping in the early days, man, doing his thing though, you know what I mean? I was like listening to his shit and all that. So
Here comes the insensitivity of Mr. DL part 2 of the episode. I think both of those guys couldn't fill Jay-Z's shoes.
Oh.
Biggie and Tupac.
Nah, well maybe I think Biggie. But
Tupac,
Tupac I think was more a different kind of rapper.
You got to remember that they were both great or whatever, but you got to remember that all this lore was added to their greatness because they got murdered.
I don't think so. Not me as a
I mean,
fan.
I think they were.
Because
They were very
knew Biggie
talented before it.
personally, so Biggie actually was my favorite rapper.
Okay.
Like, still is.
Nice.
Like, you know, but I mean, the motherfuckers is dope as shit, though. Hey, there's a whole bunch of room in the palm
There's
for
room for
motherfuckers.
talent.
So
know
you
what I mean?
think Biggie? It's hard to say because he really only was alive for one album.
Yeah,
So it's hard to say if he really had the career Jay-Z would have had. Or whatnot.
Come on, man. First of all, they say this is a motherfucking fly, fat dude chilling in the studio smoking blunts, and then be like, "Okay, I'm ready," and just go record.
Talking about me?
No, this dude. Listen, you might be little Biggie. Pause. You might be Biggs in a blanket.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
The danger
Yo,
zone.
that's what I'm trying to say. Listen,
La zona de peligro.
I don't like when people say, "Oh, if Tupac was around, fucking this guy would never be
I'm
around."
not-
You really
I'm
don't
not
know
one dude- I'm
how
not
they
a
would
dude that-
evolve. or
Tupac
not
wasn't
evolve.
stopping anybody from being
Nah,
around.
I'm not a dude to be aligned with that bullshit either. So,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like when Spice One came out, I was playing the shit. I was
Not that they were
fucking
not
with it.
talented.
So, you know.
We got next up there, Tizzle.
Next,
Eminem and The Game.
Oh, they're still going at it.
well, it's not really even going at it because you don't.
He's still going
Yeah,
at
you
it?
don't hear nothing from Eminem's side. So the thing is, though, The Game, you know, is if anyone doesn't know, he has claimed that he's the better rapper. He said, he's just on that show, man, with what's dude's name? Damn, I fucked that up.
Matt Hoffa.
Matt Barnes. He was just on that show with Matt Barnes and
the
and
basketball.
Steve Jackson. Yeah,
okay,
I believe it's both of them, or maybe it's Matt
I know what
Barnes.
you're talking about.
Anyway, he was talking about, hey, you don't hear Eminem in the locker room, which he's right, but then part of that is right, because one song that motherfuckers was fucking with, and that locker room shit and whatever is that Lose Yourself joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that that part I can't agree with. And it's coming out of people's cars and shit like that, nah, you wasn't hearing that in the streets, you wasn't hearing that in the hood, whatever. You know what I mean? So, and he said that Eminem had more money behind him, more backing, which is true too. But to me, they're two different MCs. Dude, I don't think Game's whack by a long shot.
No, he's definitely not whack. Who we got next up there?
What's good up there, man? Myster DL people now. No, sure.
DL.
Yeah.
Next up there.
Yeah, Myster DL, that's just cool as shit. I think it's
Next we have Nicki
Minaj.
Minaj.
Yeah, Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj.
Word.
Well, all hot Barbies.
Nicki.
Are her hot Barbies out in that picture? or
Oh
is it
yeah,
just-
you like that, huh?
No,
Nicki
her
Minaj.
Barbies are not out in this picture.
Word.
Put one up there that her Barbies
She
are
looks
out.
very pretty.
But it's cool. Shout out, Nicki Minaj named Maxim Magazine's new creative director.
Oh wow, good
like
for
that.
you, Nikki.
Maxim Betts Global Ambassador, Nicki Minaj.
Nice.
So they think that her creative,
She's really smart, so she.
no, they think that
She
her
is.
creative energy and what she brings to the table can elevate them to the next level. What else y'all got up there, man, girl, boy?
Well,
Now,
I don't know.
Yo.
I think he's on that fire.
y'all got me fucked up. Like,
And on another note, it's
Yeah.
been a long time coming. We've seen a lot of crazy things happen between
Oh my God.
these two.
who you pulling?
And maybe one side more heavier than the other.
Whose belt are you pulling? Oh yeah, that's your.
But let's talk about
Pull that belt.
Johnny Depp and Amber.
What was the outcome?
The outcome is she owes him $15 million, and he owes her $2 million. So she owes him $13 million, I guess, because there was so many things they were suing for so many things. But when he came, and she was guilty of everything that she accused him of, and he was only guilty of one thing for her. But the thing is he's tried to sue her for $100 million because she ruined his career. Like, let me be real. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, well he won in court. I'm like, all right, well, check this out. He was getting Disney checks that he's not gonna get anymore.
He's gonna get some checks, dude.
Not from Disney though, because he won his case, but now the whole world knows that he's a fucking weirdo, and they're not gonna want to associate themselves with him.
I would not say that he's a
would you
weird.
rather be
I would
him?
say that we
Yo,
have,
would you rather be Johnny Depp or Kevin Spacey?
Oh, Johnny Depp's fine as far as he like.
I don't think
everyone loves him again. I felt bad because everyone thought he was like a woman beater and everything like this. He lost all his jobs.
It's hard
and this
to
and that.
come back from certain perception, even when you're found innocent. When they say, "Hey, this is the guy that did it," It's like a first impression kind of thing.
So much shit is so exposed now that even those little cracks you can find shit.
He did get screwed. But,
sit his little ass on a Vespa
that's
scooter.
what they said. The one thing.
Send him on.
He said.
One thing I thought was crazy. How much money this guy makes? They said that his means outweighed what he was making. Still, even with all that money. So what the fuck?
Hey, I was in the movie with him, Black Man, but Johnny Depp is still my man.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Johnny Depp.
Step on your tippy toes and let it keep on going.
Here we go. Let's get into sports.
In the finals, we have Boston Celtics, my team, man, for real, against the Golden State Warriors. It should be a great series. As people know, early in the year, the Boston Celtics, were struggling. People thought they should break up their Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and all the others. And then at one point they caught that fire, that grind, that cohesiveness, and became great. And became number one out of the East. So, and the top defensive team, one of a time. It's just they're playing really great basketball. And I think, like they say, matches make fights, you know what I'm saying, or styles make fights. And then you got Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond, even Jordan Poole, Wiggins. You got some shooters now. You got some people that, pose different problems for Miami. But shout out to them. It should be exciting.
For Golden State.
And for Boston. He don't know what time.
For Boston. You said Miami.
Also, Miami, DJ Khaled. You was hoping that, Miami, you thought they was going to win Game 7. You know what I'm saying? And all I got to say to you, not another one. That's simple. Yo, it's that simple.
You might hear a song every once in a while when you're watching the NBA Finals.
Pay attention. Pay attention. The next episode we'll rock with you about it. Yes. We have here today our special guest, Freddie Foxx, a.k.a. Bumpy Knuckles, a.k.a. the man, the myth, and the legend, my man, 1,000 grand. Those who do know don't, just get them caught up, on
78, baby. Started my design crime in 78, born in 1967. Some can never relate. I was told by I'll forever be great, so I could be 93 and you'll still get scraped. That's me. I started rocking a mic in the 6th grade, bro. 1978, the 6th grade.
Wow.
And that's what I've been doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
What was your name back then?
Freddie C.
Freddie C. Okay.
Yeah.
Shit sound like a chicken spot. Yo. People don't know it's my man. It's my man, dog. There's too many stories with me and Freddie. So as you first jumped into, to the game, as far as as Freddie Foxx, professionally with it, was it the flavor unit first, or was it before that?
Well, nah, it was Eric B signed me.
Okay.
And got me a MCA.
Okay.
Before that, I was on Zakia Records, and I did a song on Zakia, and then that was I did a song on Nia. I was on Nia Atlantic.
Right.
That was a label that was owned by the Alim brothers, who did Release Yourself. And I was signed to a management deal a production deal through OT Fresh Productions, and the record was with a crew called Supreme Force, and we did co-handling things and Come Out Fresh, and that was in 6. That was my first deal. I was in 86.
Wow.
Is there any truth to the rumor that it was almost Eric B and you as a group? Is there any truth to that rumor?
Yeah. It was definitely truth to it. That story's been told a billion times over, and it definitely was true. But Eric was looking for a solo artist, not somebody. He didn't want the whole group, so I just decided I'd stay with the group because I didn't want to, I didn't want to not complete what we were gonna do, was make a record together. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I didn't do the Eric B thing, but he ended up managing me though, which was a good look.
I was really always about the boom, in the back. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the physicality, all that type of shit was what I was that's me coming in, whatever. And I remember I seen you and I was like, yo, this dude was you know what I'm saying? he has that. Like that's what you know. I'm liking this type of shit. You know that you were spitting, and then I ultimately saw get tough shit, to get rough. You know what I mean?
Tough.
And then the fact you was working out. You know what I mean? Like rhyming. And I'm saying that shit. It's funny how we came together to how we did, but that was like my view on that. Like you know, and you and like in hip hop. So when you came in and you were like that, because I mean your presence was like, yo, okay, we know how it is. Like they look at you and they like, yo, you don't really want to fuck with him. He sound like how them rhymes are. Like, were you aware that that's how the fans looked at you? You know what I mean? Sorry, but we ain't live, so I'll call you back, nephew. Sorry, man. Sorry about that. So were you aware the fans perceived you like that, or did you want that image? Like that's why you were bringing it, you know?
Yeah, I really did. I didn't really care about perception. I was just giving you how I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? I always tried to stick to that as an MC, as an artist. As I grew into becoming an artist,
right?
You know what I mean? Because I started off, I was an MC. So I started becoming an artist and growing into that space. I gave less and less care to what I lead. What I put out there is what I put out there. You know what I mean? And once I do that, I learn to detach myself from it, because whether people like it or not, or accept it or not, I'm not gonna go back and change what I did. I did what I did. I rocked how I rocked. So I was just giving you my honest feelings about how I was feeling. You know what I mean? I was in a war with, you know, what used to be fun became business, and the shit wasn't fun no more.
Right.
Which led me to all the way to industry shakedown. Like, you know what I mean? And that shit was like, you know, everybody was thinking of. I wasn't trying to put out an image. I was expressing myself exactly how I was feeling about the disappointment that I was running into with my dreams and my desires and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
We were at the same time, you know, in the era of hip hop where if you didn't like it, like if we didn't like something that was being presented, we was gonna go check it for real. Like it wasn't on the phone or like today's social media or whatever. It was like, okay, I got to go over here and straighten this out. So, you know, there was the rumor and the myth, so to speak, of you having a situation where you had to go up into a label and confront people.
Let's be honest. Shug, I've been chasing my money all my career, my whole career.
Right.
Music business is about who can get over on the other person.
Right.
And don't step up and go after what you have earned, then they get comfortable taking you from you. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't, you know, and I'm not even just talking about major labels. I mean, shit. I used to have to always call Fat Beats to get paid. I didn't just get a check in the mail like it was supposed to be done. I had to call up and tell them, "Hey, yo, dog, what's up with my bread?" And that doesn't make him any different from anybody else. That's just what the game is. And there's been plenty of times when I had to step in my business and say, "Hey, yo, you taking from me, man. It don't work like that."
Of course.
You know,
if they're doing it to you, imagine what they're doing to everybody.
My thing, another thing too, is because of our presence. I mean, I've had fans, you probably too, where they like, yo, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have to knock nobody out tonight. You ain't gonna do this, whatever. Well, you're way past that, but they still have that, like, you know what I mean? Like, they think motherfuckers is, you know, jumping in rings, or I've had people where you can hear them whisper around you, like, oh, that's so and so, but they don't really want to step you because they think that that persona part of it is you, like, you know what I mean? And like, do you ever encounter stuff like that?
All the time, because what happens is people start living their wildest fantasies through you. Right. They start living that persona through you, and then whenever you do what you really supposed to do and alter, you know, if you making music, right, and you feel in one certain type of way, and you express that feeling, and it connects with a person, they lock in on that. Right. But what you should never allow people to do is put you in a box. Right. See, that's your fault. If people put you in a box and you stay there, that's on you. Right. But if you can't be 60 years old making the same record you was making when you was 20 years old. Yeah. That's why I always say, hip hop is a rap at a certain age, because you got these old ass niggas out here still gangsters, you know what I mean? telling you they'll shoot you, and they ain't been active in 40 years.
Right.
And they still rapping that shit. So if you ain't grow up mentally in your pen, and you ain't showing people, you know, and I heard cats like Soulja Boy and certain cats say, yo, the OGs they disappointing us, man. They let us down. And in some instances, that shit is real, because you have to look at what you lead. And if you leading people through something, and you leading hip hop with your pen, and you writing bars, if your shit ain't growing, then the people listening to it ain't either not growing, and they gonna go somewhere else. You know what I mean? And it's the responsibility of the artist to do art. Niggas out here talking about fights and all that shit that they never had. Niggas out here talking about, you know, guns and shit and all the crazy shit. Yo, people been there, done that. Now what? You know what I mean? But artists, we supposed to do art. We supposed to be able to, and if being in the street is your art, that's fine. Right. But even in the streets, you grow up mentally. Even in the streets, you go to another level mentally. And if you respect it as a cat that's an old head or OG or whatever, you know the penalty for being in the street hard body. It could go a lot of ways. What is that? Fuck does that have to do with music?
Right. It's 100%.
Where's the rhymes at? Where the bars at? Where the beats at?
Right.
You know, man. But where's the music? A lot of shit people talking about has nothing to do with music. Get on the mic, rock the mic. Either you nice or you not. If you ain't gonna rock, get the fuck out the way. Let somebody do this shit that want to do it. DJ, get on stage. The fuck you do, and stop fucking beefing with everybody, nigga. Play the fucking music. If you ain't ready to play the music, put somebody back there that's ready to do this. Let's get back to music. Yep. That's what it is.
I always believe that success is supposed to breed separation, meaning that because we succeed, because that's what we wanted to do. Coming up in the game, shit. You want to make money. You want to be a dope MC. You want to be respected in that art. Do you feel like, damn, this shit is doomed, or do you feel like there's some hope, like, for these motherfuckers? You know what I mean? The whole,
you know, honestly, hip hop ain't never gonna be doomed, and I'm gonna be honest with you.
Right.
I'm gonna be 100,000% honest.
Right.
I hope these little motherfuckers out here make so much money that they buy up everything that we ain't supposed to have.
Right.
And I'm why? Nice. Because we ain't never been able to do that. I remember when $300,000 was a good look for an album deal. And then you in a situation where some motherfucking label, after you've recouped your money, they still own your masters.
Right.
What the fuck is that? And these little motherfuckers out here, I hope they get so rich and buy up everything we ain't supposed to have, because they're not all stupid. And I refuse to charge them with what's going on in the street as a representation of hip hop, because I see a lot of motherfuckers, new hip hop platforms posting and putting people on front pages when they get murdered, but they not talking about the music.
Yeah,
the hip hop is being eaten from the inside out, because it's motherfuckers who know better. They know better than the shit that they're putting out there as hip hop, and that people are trying to forefront what's going on in the streets with rap music, and it's detrimental, bro, because ain't nobody talking about the music. Where's the fucking music?
Right.
That's the fucking line. So if these dudes is out here shooting, and niggas been dying for years, killing each other for years. We've been doing that shit. The most violent motherfucker on earth, the most violent person on earth is the white man. Look at his history and what he's done to motherfuckers, skinning motherfuckers and cutting people's balls off and all this crazy shit. I refuse to put it on a young black rapper that he's the reason the world is fucked up. Are you fucking kidding me?
All the stuff you've learned over your career, all the experience and everything like that, do you think if you were able to talk to your younger self, do you think your younger self would listen to what you had to say? Or do you think that's kind of what's going on with these kids right now, the same thing? They ain't really trying to listen because they're kind of set in their own ways.
Well, I always listen to OGs in my hood. I always listen to the old heads. I did, but you know what? I never listened. I know which OG to listen to, because there wasn't no old dude out there dressed like me. There wasn't no old dude out there who was trying to represent what I'm representing, and he passed his prime in that. If he was doing something that was different from what I was doing and leading me in a way that was showing me how to be better than what I was doing, absolutely I'm listening. But I'm not listening to no motherfucker tell me. I'm standing on the corner with somebody who ain't accomplished shit.
Yeah.
Telling me how to do something that he couldn't do himself.
Okay.
How does that sound? That sound crazy to you, right? So that's how they look at it. That's how they look at us. You know what I'm saying? They don't look at us as, they look at us as OGs because niggas is old. They not looking at you as an OG because you accomplished some great shit that they aspire to do. Yeah, there's dudes out here. There's dudes out here that rock the mic. There's dudes out here that rock the mic that been rocking the mic since fucking the park days on cassette tapes and shit, but they ain't never sold a record. The fuck they gonna tell these little niggas out here now that got their ears wrapped around Sony and all these major companies dropping the bag on them? What are you gonna tell them? Keep it hip hop? And he ain't never sold a record nowhere? You think they want to listen to that shit?
That was
what I tell these young cats? You know what I tell these young dudes? You know what I tell them? Learn the business. That's my advice. Stop. You need the old head niggas need to stop trying to keep it real with these dudes and let them and just tell them. Just the advice is the mistakes I made. This is the mistake I made. Learn the business before you get in it.
Right.
Learn it, study it, everything you could possibly think, because there's gonna be a time when niggas don't fuck with you. I have a line in one of my songs that said, "When niggas ain't buying downloads, can you switch to underground mode?"
Oh,
that's what it is. That's what it is. You have to know. It ain't about who got more. Some of these dudes is out here, they chasing they looks, and they stuck in the camera chasing they looks, and ain't nobody making no fucking records. Hip hop is dying from the inside out. It's our fault that it's fucked up, and if it's fucked up, you can't blame the young rappers. That's not cool, because if you blamed us, like when we came out after Melly Mel and them. You know what I mean? And I used to hear all these dudes talking about, oh, everybody want to be hard now, and the rap ain't that. It's supposed to be fun and community and all that. They was killing us about that shit. That 90s era that we was boom bap, and they was sneak dissing and all kind of shit. And then you look now at these young cats getting all this bread and doing that. I hope they buy every motherfucking thing that we ain't supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do that, but be rich and all that fly shit, but make music, man. That's what this is about. This is the music business. And these platforms, these hip hop magazines and all them, they need to stop posting shit that ain't got nothing to do. Or at least give us a balance. Let's talk about music, man, and not stop all the goofy shit and who's beefing with who and who is dying and died and who this and who that, and all these motherfuckers is shooting each other up they front page. If you an aspiring rapper, they throwing you on the front page if you get shot or you go to jail, but they not talking about the music you making in the fucking garage.
Right. Shit's deep,
Come on, man. That's what the fuck are we doing here, man? Like, we set a precedent, Shug, walking out on a stage behind one of the greatest DJs hip-hop will ever know. With us on stage, we fixing mixes in the middle of the show. We rocking the mic. We passing the mic. We all joining in together, having a great time spitting bars. It was about music. All the tough shit, always been through that. They've been, shit. Back in the days when Al Green and the motherfuckers was running, they was always into shit. There was fights and shit. It was things. Dre was dressing like the pimps and shit, man. The streets have always been a part of the culture, but it's never been the forefront of the information.
Do you think it's like kind of like the fashion era now, because it's hard to make money on the actual music, that now it's become more of my clothes, my merchandise? Do you think maybe that has something to do with it?
Industry shakedown, 24 hours. The first line says, "It is no longer 1999, and we live in a world of one-track minds, where the industry feeds us fashion design that creates MCs that cannot rhyme." Now, I saw this shit I saw it in 2000.
Yeah, that's kind of when it started.
I saw it in 2000. When the 2000s came and you started seeing people focusing more on fashion than music. Hip hop became part of that. I can't really speak for country music and all of that stuff, and I don't really know it like that. But I know when I look at black music, people pay attention to the motherfucker with the best story. They don't care about the facts no more. And whoever got the best story, that's what they want to hear and shit. You know what I'm saying? And as MCs, we supposed to be able to control that narrative by keeping people focused on dope records and dope bars and dope beats and dope. And everybody's making these underground motherfuckers, the same fucking beat. They keep talking about trap niggas is rapping over the same beat. These underground niggas is rapping over the same beat.
Yeah.
and they not rapping anything different than the shit they was talking about months ago, years ago. Elevate your brain cells into something that everybody know you got a better pen than that. So show that. That's what MCs do. You know what I'm saying? If you half the time niggas ain't even listening to the lyrics. You ever see people do that? You ever see people do that? They put the song on and as soon as the beat come on, I don't like. It's easy to say you don't like something. You know what I'm saying? As an MC, it's easy to say, oh, I didn't rock on that because I ain't like the beat. But it's better to say, for the fans to say, yo, he bodied that. I would have liked to heard him on a better beat though, but he killed that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true. People always intertwine us and me too as like the Militia brothers, the Militia, whatever. And so, just real quick, the history left for people, you know. But as we did that record, like, how was it brought to you, and how did you even come into the fold with Gang Starr to do this song, you know?
Premier, I met Premier in the city one day in the street. I think I was coming out of MCA or one of them labels. I was coming out of one of the buildings and I seen Premier. We was walking down the street together, and he's like, "Oh wow, Freddie Foxx, yo, I like your stuff." And then we just started talking. I was like, I called him Gang Starr. That's what I said. I didn't know his name was Premier. I called him Gang Starr. I was like, "Yo, Gang Starr." And yeah, and then we started, you know, we started talking about, you know, just music, you know what I mean? And then he said, yo, take my number. You know, we switched numbers or whatever. And we broke out. And then I got a call later to do an OC record. You know what I mean? I got a call to do an OC record at D&D, and I went there and did the OC record. And then shortly after that, Premier hit me with, yo, Guru wants to know if you'll do this song with us called The Militia. And I was like, out, and he gave me the beat on a cassette tape. I went to the crib, and I went to the crib. I sat down with it, you know, for a couple of days, and I put my pieces together. And then when I came in to do it, I was actually out moving around, and I came in to do it, and I laid my vocals. You know what I'm saying? And that was a dope moment, because you know, I really wasn't really hip to like how good of a producer Premier was. You know what I mean? I wasn't hip to that. I wasn't really, because we didn't focus on that back in the day. We wasn't focusing on who was a dope producer and who wasn't. We just was looking for beats. I never was a beat picker. Like, I tried to body everything somebody gave me.
Yeah.
I never was a dude who said, oh, I don't like the beat. I rapped to some shit that this beats, records that I rocked on that came out on albums that I probably never would have picked. If somebody would have picked this. Like, I go to Premier, I go to Pete or any of them and say, yo, you know, they'll say, yo, they'll give me the beat. And I was like, oh, that's dope. And I'll say, you know, I'll just take them and rock to them. I wasn't trying to be picky. Like, nowadays, everybody's so fucking picky because they looking for the octane, because they really running out of gas.
Yeah, they ain't got no gas.
You know what I mean? Niggas ain't got no bars, so they want to have the illest beat ever, so somebody can say, yo, even if they take the instrumental, that's my beat, I rapped on it first. It's all about that.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as doing the Militia, that was how I got to Guru asked Premier to ask me to be on it. Right. That's how I got on it.
My shit was like, I'm sitting in this room. Premier flew me in, and so I'm in his crib, and he's making the beat in the other room. And so I'm in the other room, and I didn't write at that point. I was more like freestyling. So I was like, damn, as the light started getting more on me, well, I was like, damn, now I gotta start writing, but I gotta say something right for this shit. So he's playing it, he's coming back, he's like, yo, you like that? The music, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. He said, you got something? I said, yeah, I got something, but I'm putting it together in my head right there. So now I got that whole verse, and I go in there, me and him left from there and did the verse. So I hadn't heard Guru do a verse or you know what I mean? I just knew that we were gonna be, you know, on this record. And then when I heard everybody, I was like, man, this shit is dope. Cause I don't even know how it was placed the way it was, but it felt like that, like where, you know, I was first, and it was still me coming into my own, like, okay, boom, now I'm rocking with these niggas, and this is what it is, and then Guru, and then you came with the sledgehammer, you know what I mean, on some Thor shit, boom. So I was like, yo, this shit. And then the one thing people might not know too is the concept of the video came from you. You know what I mean?
No shit.
Wow. Can you explain, like, you know, how you even, you know, brought? I know, but I mean, just how you brought that together. You know.
Well, first I'm gonna back up a little bit. When I laid my verse on Militia, I think you and Guru had already rhymed on it already.
Yeah, it's possible because I wasn't.
Yeah, you and Guru had already rhymed on it already, and Premier. I listened to it in the studio for the first time. I didn't have it on the tape at the house, so I had to listen to it a couple of times. I had already wrote my rhyme without hearing what y'all did.
Right.
But I had this habit. I always had this. I come from a group of guys who wrote long verses. I always wrote. You know, I wasn't counting bars like 16 bar verses. I don't know where that shit came from. We just rocked until we finished saying what we say. So, I did that on I Love, and I've suffered many a show because of that shit. But you know, at the end of it all, when I laid that, I knew that my delivery on that song had to be strong because it needed to have a strong finish because the music was so well put together. And after hearing what you know how you took off on the song, and then Guru, you know, took off on the song, I would have played myself if I didn't go hard body on that record. Like I knew what it needed, and I come from a group background, so I was comfortable with mic passing situations. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And at the end of it all, that's how I got to that. But the video, Premier said to me, "Yo, we all trying to come up with a video concept," and I was a big fan of 3 the Hard Way, and I said to Premier, like, "Yo, we should just do 3 the Hard Way, bro. That, you know, the motorcycles and the chicks on the motorcycle and all that. I know dude took credit for it, but I laid that whole shit out in his ear, like, yo, homie, we should, you know, the each section, the karate part with Guru, all of that stuff. I told him about it. He took credit for it. I didn't care, you know, as long as the project came out fire. That's all I really cared about. You know, dude in the beginning screaming, you know, Big Shug, I want him dead now, or whatever the fuck he was saying. All of that, you know, that's those dramatics. I always was the guy who I got a good eye for visual stuff. Like, I don't shoot a lot of video, I just don't, but I saw that shit. That was the easy one.
First of all, I come from that era, so I'm like, oh shit, a nigga get to do karate up in a video? You know what I mean?
With the silk shirt on.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, people don't know. That's how I felt. I was like, oh shit. So then,
cool. With a silk shirt, I had the
you know what I mean? And I already knew some little, you know, street karate type shit, and then we'll put my shit, and then the dudes is like, yo, yeah, you could just throw us around and shit like that. I was like, so boom, like, as I'm doing it, I'm smiling inside, like, cause I'm on some shit like, oh shit, I'm on like some Jim Kelly type, and you know, we know the black exploitation, so I'm that dude right now, to the point, real quick, on some funny shit in that thing. I did my shit, boom, 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 right? Then the fucking table, they had the breakaway table, and the shit banged me in the shin. And you know that shin pain, everybody know that. Yeah. So, but I'm in the mode. So I did that shit, and my shit is killing. But I finished, you know, in the end, like and everybody's clapping like we just did a show. But after that shit went off, I was like, oh shit, you know, because that shit banged me out. But I was so adrenaline flowing and happy because I was like, yo, that shit's gonna be fucking dope, you know. And then as we went to each one, and then I saw that shit all together. And it culminated when I went to the Source Awards, and they gave that was one of the songs that was for the finals, up for award, and they said the Militia. They said the Militia, and then it shows that part when I'm fighting, like, you know, and then when at the Source Awards, I'm like, wow, you know, and then I know, you know, us knowing that we performed it hundreds of times since. But us knowing that, like, I knew where that came from, the video, how that visual made the song even bigger. That was one of their biggest songs, and it was an underground song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I got a question about the Militia before we move on from it.
Go ahead.
All right, so we all know the chorus is the most memorable part of the record. All right, that's, you know, that's obviously that's how the music it's set up. Do you think by saying your name on such a classic record on the chorus helped elevate you or help with the longevity of both of your careers?
That's why I wrote it that way. I wrote the chorus.
Genius, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is because I believe that when you want people to know you, you have to you have to identify yourself on the song, and those songs work great up at the top of your career, especially so people can remember you, which is why radio used to be so dope around, you know, back in the Frankie Crocker days, because that was a big thing. You play the song, not only do you say the name of the song, you say who the artist is and what, you know, where they can get the record. Like, you point people in the direction of you as an artist.
And I go everywhere, man. Motherfuckers say the whole shit still, like Big Shug, Guru, Freddie Foxx, the Militia, and even like, you know how we are, if we're by ourselves, performing that verse, it's still the same energy, like everybody was there. Are there 10 MCs that you like, and you know, from different eras, whatever? Who would you say? Not like a top 10. It's just 10 dudes that you even would line up. You know,
that's a flip. though. The question is a flip, because it's like the way you flipped it is still the same thing. It's still a top 10. So
yeah, he does it. He does it all the time.
Hey, Shug, listen, Shug, you ain't the only old player in the room, homie. I'm saying, like, I got you, son.
Yo,
I'm gonna give you 10.
Let me just get 10.
I'm gonna give you 10. I'm gonna play along. I'll start back. I'll go back. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Spoonie G.
Oh wow, of course.
I'm a big Spoonie G fan. I always thought Spoonie G was so like his ability to flow was a real big help to me as a young MC coming up in the game. You know what I mean? You know, everybody know how much I love Kaz and Mel and all them guys, but from the era, Spoonie G, I don't get to mention. I don't mention much, but I should mention more because of his ability to flow. Then I got a lot of respect for Busta Rhymes.
Oh yeah, he's one.
Yes.
I got a lot of respect. I watched Busta Rhymes on Smoke and Groove's tour.
Right.
Just totally dominate. He was in the middle of the lineup, and such a highlight and high point MC, man. Like this guy just don't stop. Like it's hard to play after him. I know that.
Yeah. I would imagine.
I agree. We was there. So.
It's very hard to play after him, man. I love MOP. You know, I got to give MOP their props because not just because it's a family thing, but only because I seen them guys work a room that was already tired and bring it back to life with their records. Their catalog is phenomenal to me. Right. You know, the way they're consistent sound, that consistent delivery, that consistent, they're true to what the fuck they do. Like, it's very hard to stick to something so well. Big Daddy Kane is so well educated in the art of MCing and individuality because of how he presents his work and how he presents himself to the game. You know what I mean? Like that's impressive to me because Kane rock with a band or rock with a DJ, or like he makes those kind of records. I used to hang with Kane. Kane used to say, "Yo, Bump, man, come by the crib," and we'd be running around. He used to actually go to rehearsal halls and work out on his show. Like, Kane is that serious of an MC. I've seen him work with Blue Magic, and I've seen him work with Cool G Rap, and he bodied everything. People probably gonna bug out when I say this, but I'm gonna tell you who I think is, in my eyes, is the most influential MC of all times. And I never said this publicly before, but I'll say it with no hesitation, is Rakim. And I'm gonna tell you why I said that. Because when Rakim came out, I heard Spoonie G switch his flow up. And I was like, you affecting a motherfucker that I think is probably one of the greatest that ever did it. You gotta be the most influential of all time.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So if you go back and listen to the original first Spoonie G records and then listen after Rakim came out, he switched his flow up. You know, and Rakim was always one of those guys that, you know, despite whatever differences I may have had with him, I always had mad major respect for him as the MC. Guru.
Yeah, that's our man.
Now, outside of him being my man, I remember sitting down with Guru. The first reason I respected him is because he wrote his rhymes neatly.
Right.
Guru, Guru and I used to compare our rhyme books on the tour bus.
Right.
You know, we was all writing rhymes, and I said, "Yo, you the first rapper I've ever looked at their books, and I can read what you say, what you wrote." Like
Right.
you,
That's hilarious.
you know what I'm saying? Usually you can't really read, but Guru wrote in graffiti, but it was still neat.
Yeah.
Like he had this right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I like the way he set up his concepts. Guru had really dope concepts. He knew how to stick to the concept. He was lyrical. His delivery was unique. And his cadence was special. He had a special cadence in his voice. Chubb Rock.
Man, nice. This is a great list.
Chubb Rock. Now I'll tell you why Chubb Rock is dope to me, because Chubb Rock is one of those guys that he knows what he has in the songs like that he has, his catalog, and he every single time I ever heard him perform them records, they sound the same.
Same energy and everything.
Same energy. Like that's rocking the mic for you right there. That's a heavy. You know what I mean, that's a heavy mic rocking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a new cat named Cyree. He's not a really brand new, but Cyree the Kid is dope to me because if you look him up, he's a dope songwriter. You know what I mean? And I think I ran with him on an album worth of beats, and I sent him some beats, and I said, I'm gonna let you make up the concept. I'll follow you. And everything he sent me back was fire, and I was inspired by that. And there's very few MCs that I could get on a song with and be inspired like that to you know, from this generation, like bars. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about internet bars. I'm talking about he got records out with really good songwriting on it. I like Kumo D. I like Kumo D. I like Kumo D because Kumo D was rugged. His delivery was rugged, and he's so intelligent. He wasn't afraid to use and show you his intelligence in his lyrics, like the wordplay and the stuff that he says. You know what I mean? And it's the shit that he says, like. And the one MC that I think is my final one is Snoop.
Oh yeah, I was hoping for a West Coast star.
I have a West Coast, but I love Snoop because not because he's wild lyrical or all that, but when it come down to, like, ever since he came out, he been hot.
Yeah.
You know, he's unique, and I think that all of the, you know, I don't like rappers just because they got bars. I like them for a lot of reasons that I think if you put all those guys that I just mentioned, that 10 and made one MC, that would be the greatest MC ever. You know what I'm saying? Because they all have a different element. You know what I mean? It's like a DJ you got DJs who know how to do tricks really good, and then you got DJs that can do anything. They could play, you know, anything. You know what I mean? Just anything. Yo, you know what? There's one other guy that I love, but he just popped into my head. It's AG.
Put him in there. Who?
AG.
Wow.
AG is dope, man. From DIT.
Yeah. We talked about him last week.
Yo, AG's probably one of the dopest lyricists that I've heard, and like, man, just in my experience in hip hop, he's just the way he puts his words together, just insane, man.
We had Sadat X on. Shout out to Sadat X last week, and he mentioned that was one of his. You know what I mean? And like it was dope.
Nigga, nice,
like,
yo.
See, your list has been like one of the most unique one that I've heard. Period. Is not the regulars, but they great MCs. You know what I mean? And
well, he also included a rapper we don't know yet, so that's dope. You know, we get
you know what? Because I don't allow the business to tell me who's dope or not. I look at things from an influential point of view. Like, I can tell I'm influenced by everybody I mentioned, and I could give you another 30 and tell you those guys are this too. But since it's 10, it's 10. But I'm just saying, I look at influence, like who influences me to be a dope MC, to be better. You know what I mean? When I listen to something, yo, do a song with this guy, and I say, okay, I know what I'm gonna do with this dude. He's not really that nice, even though I'm gonna do the record. I'll go listen to somebody better and act like in my head I go next.
You got any more questions, anyone?
Oh, favorite producer?
She says, this is incredible, because she says, do you have a favorite producer?
Favorite producer?
a favorite hip hop producer or just a producer in general?
Producer in general. Could be a hip hop, could be someone you want to work with, someone you admire.
Gamble and Huff.
Oh shit, that's back in the day.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Like,
This is great.
you got steps and all that with that. So yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know why I said Gamble and Huff? Because I love the fact that they consecutively have been able to collaborate without the bullshit. They make fire. They didn't get involved in all of the when Harold Melvin tried to come back to them and say, yo, fuck Teddy, you know, that they was like, listen, man, fuck all that. Like, get out of here with all that. This, you know what I'm saying? They make great music, bro, and they that's what they focused on. You know, that's not, you never see them all out there posing in front of the Bentleys and all that shit and all that extra shit. Half-ass record. They make great music. That's why I love them.
Man, that's beautiful, man.
We know that you did work with the WWE with the music over there. I just want to know what kind of censorship they had. Did they sit you down and tell you what were they on you about what the language, the content, or did they just let you do you?
No, they didn't. They first of all, nobody can sit me down and tell me anything. But no, actually, Vince McMahon was really cool. Like Vince McMahon, he didn't even, John Cena was the one I had to relate. That was my boy. That's the one I have to with it. And they didn't really, they were more on John not to do certain things than me. You know what I mean? They were more. They don't give a fuck about me. They was looking at maybe making sure John Cena don't go outside of the box, because John can get a little wild sometimes, and they have to kind of, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was, but that was a cool experience working with them. It was different, and I like to be able to take hip hop where I go. Everybody's always talking about, one dude tried to say, how you hip hop doing WWE? I said, man, when I walked in the door of WWE, I was hip hop. I brought it with me. Yeah. Everywhere I go, I take hip hop with me. So you got people out here on that, they got to stay in the hood all the time, or but your responsibility as a hip hop artist is to take it to every genre and bring it with you. Yeah. That's how I do it. That's like, I look at it that way.
And plus, on top of that, what's more WWE than the perception that people have for rappers? Like, they feel like me and you, to this day, is still going knocking motherfuckers out. You know what I mean? So if you think that's what he would do, I do shows now. Shit, at my advanced age, and motherfuckers like, yo, Shug, don't worry about nothing. You ain't gonna have to knock nobody out. Listen, motherfucker, the only thing I'm about to knock out is these bars and this show, right? And I'm gonna keep it moving. And then it's funny, like, cause you did the John Cena shit and whatever, and that enabled, they want him to be cool, like you said, so that enabled him to be like now in commercials riding purple cows. You know what I mean? I know you done seen the shit. So I'm saying, like, if he went too far to the left, they couldn't have came with him with trash bags and purple cows like John Cena. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Another thing that people aren't aware of is that you also have been doing a lot of producing. You probably always did. Probably more so as being known as of late. You know what I mean? And, are you enjoying that at this time, or is that like just something that you even more like, man, what's your take? Like,
yeah, man, listen, I'm producing records for DMC, which is like a bucket list thing for me. Man. You know what I'm saying? I got records that I'm doing with a live band album with me, Daru Jones, and Mono Neon. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of stuff I've been producing. I've been producing for years, but now more so because I don't like doing shows anymore.
Right.
And and I see everybody chasing the show game, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good on that. Like, you know what I mean? I got, next time I do a show, it's gonna be in a theater, and we're gonna be sitting down, and I'm gonna be telling them a story that they're gonna never forget. You know what I mean? Showing them the music and the eras that I've been through musically and what I've done, and that kind of shit. I want to do something bigger than just running out on stage with somebody else's DJ behind me. You know what I mean? I want to do something totally different, and that's what I'm working on. Visuals and all of that fly shit. Like I'm 55, dog. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be jumping on stage till my motherfucking back go out or some dumb shit like that.
I tell you one thing people don't know too about Bump. In '93, we performed at somewhere. I was doing jazz with Google, and there was a lot of greats in the house in Atlantic City. It was an event called Impact. You know what I mean? If you remember. And this is when I seen him, saw you rocking Just Rhymes with a cat with the drum set. You know what I mean? It was just drum. It was just, that's it. You know what I mean? And that shit was like, that shit was dope. I mean, everybody was there. I'm talking about Stevie Wonder was there, the Levert.
Yeah, I remember that.
Everybody.
You know, when we back in the Park days, we was rapping over the breaks. You know, people got these overproduced records nowadays, all elaborate with all the shit. But back in the days, the DJ rocked to the break. So the drummer was just playing the break to me. That's all that was about. But I like to try to still keep it there drum wise. You got to keep the drums and the MC. That's the connection. That's the, you know what I mean? We'll do a part 2. That'll be dope. I'll definitely commit to doing a part 2 with you.
No question. That's beautiful, man. Freddie Foxx was good. You know, our road manager, man, he used to be a loud motherfucker, man. That's how man. He get loud.
I got love for him.
And we love that dude, man. But he got loud that day, and then Freddie was not having it. So we're in an airport, and the floor is like mop and glow. The floor is like some straight waxed up, smooth shit. Like,
someone
you know,
put the elbow.
It looked like you could skate on that shit. That's how it looked. So Freddie squared up like, yo, man, you gonna stop talking to me like that. There was some shit like that. Going turned the other way, and he had on flip flops and socks, right? The nigga looked down at his feet, looked at Bumpy, looked back down, and walked, right? And then so later on, I catch up with him. I'm like, yo, damn, man, what happened? He said, listen, this is how I used to talk to all the time. He was like, listen, I was not going to have Freddie Foxx mopping me up around the airport. What you got next?
So what's next?
Stupid as hell.
Stupid as hell. Man, stupid as hell.
I don't even know who it was. I never ask.
Your man.
Sometimes it's obvious,
We're
like
about to find out.
like the guy who fought Mike Tyson. That was obvious.
Stupid as hell.
The breastfeeding bar goer.
Stupid as hell. Your man, stupid as hell.
All right, who we got?
Yo, it's what it is, man. Hey, yo, Albert Bailey, one of the most stupid criminals of all time. There is no doubt that this criminal, Albert Bailey, is one of the world's dumbest criminals. This man and his partner planned to accomplish a mission that was for a bank robbing. So here comes the stupidest moment about them, right? These two robbers called the bank before they entered and told them, we coming. We coming, yo. All right, so.
Whoa.
And then after that, employees know that the robbers are on their way. And they have enough time to call the cops. Because Albert Bailey and his mans is like, we coming, yo. So when they get over there, the incident took place in Connecticut. And according to these thieves, they wanted the banks. They warned the bank so the bank can get threatened to collect and get the money ready when they get there, so they don't got to spend that much time. You know, and the bottom line is like, listen, let me just tell you, Albert Bailey and them, you stupid as hell. If you're gonna rob a bank or rob anything, I'm not condoning. We ain't had the podcast. Danger Zone ain't condoning robbing, but don't call the motherfuckers and say, "Oh, I'm coming to rob you." All right? Unless you're trying to go to jail. So this week's Stupid as Hell is Albert Bailey. You know what it is, man.
So we got some good episodes in the backlog. You can see them all right here on the channel. We recently interviewed Billy Danz. We interviewed Nick Speed, John Abraham.
Sadat X.
Eric Bobo of Cypress Hill.
Eric Bobo.
I'm missing one.
We got more
Terminology.
Yeah, Term from the gate. Shout out to Terminology.
Friend
you know
of
what
the
I'm saying?
show.
You know what it is. Yo, I want to give a shout out to, young dude trying to come up. His name is Rockwell. You know what I'm saying? On Instagram, he's at Rockwell Artist. He just dropped his debut album, The Witching Hour, out now. Yo, so thank you for coming through, man, and hanging with us at the Danger Zone podcast with Big Shug.
And Myster DL.
Chef Tanya.
You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you. Always remember, excuses have no purpose, so don't make them. And also remember, you know what I'm saying, if we glow, we grow, all of us together.
On my dark days, I chopped crack on a regular. Ran up in spots and clapped on a regular. Took big fat ass stacks from the register. No matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't measure the hard I have. You joke when I stab. Grands in my pocket and still caught a cab.